on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin is down another 2% today. We actually have Ethereum holding quite stable, so this is good for Ethereum. Finally, we kind of saw Ethereum lagging behind Bitcoin, right? But speaking about the Bitcoin price falling, we did have a $1 billion Bitcoin transfer yesterday that some people are associating with this FUD, which in turn was the reason why we had the dip, which in turn is why people were selling, which you could see how this avalanche could continue, right? But the big question is, was that actually the cause of the Bitcoin sell-off? Now, we have seen Bitcoin whales starting to sell. I've heard a lot of people freaking out saying this is the top, what's going on? So in today's video, I want to talk about whether or not that actually did have any significant impact on the price. What is happening right now? I'm actually going to provide you with one more realistic reason as to why the price could be a little bit stagnant and falling right now for Bitcoin, something that no one's really mentioning. Finally, I'm going to go over some Bitcoin targets. So if that sounds good to you, super quick video today. I actually have somewhere to be later today, so I wanted to get this out super quick. Stick around to the end. If you haven't got subscribed to the channel, well, we do this every single day. And without further ado, let's dive in. Now, we did have a beautiful, beautiful bounce off the 21 exponential moving average. We have been using this average on the channel to track this bull market since, well, pretty much all the way back here since the beginning of January. So you can see it does provide excellent opportunities if you are trading over on Bybit to put in a long. You can see right here, we had that perfect touch, right? And if we actually measure from the bottom to the top, you can see that so far, that was about a 4.5% move. So if you're using something like 10x leverage, you're almost at 50% gains. Now, I actually did get the opportunity to hop into a bit of a long right here. I'm slowly building a position because I'm not bearish, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. So if you guys are interested in learning how to trade, you can make money when Bitcoin goes up as well as down. So check out the tutorial popping up above, $200 in bonuses if you use the link below. But let's talk about the fact that we have Bitcoin right now bouncing around in this sort of ascending wedge or ascending triangle, however you're looking at it, right? Now, I do want to point out the significance of this blue box territory down here. We did have a beautiful bounce right here, okay? Right off this support. You can see lots of support right here. So this could actually be the bounce for Bitcoin, which is why personally I was looking to actually scale in at these levels. However, there is a possibility of a fake out still, where we could fall down and refill this level right here. You could see there was a small amount of demand on the VPVR level right here, and also this was an area of, like I said, accumulation, as well as some previous resistance. So it wouldn't be impossible to see Bitcoin fall back into these levels, which could see Bitcoin even slightly dip below the $50,000 level before then continuing to the upside, right? So I am keeping my eyes on that, but as we have been speaking about, you could see right behind me, right here, there is massive, massive volume and accumulation around the $47,700 level, and this is because of the whale bubbles, which we've spoke about multiple times on this channel. So if I kind of zoom out and have a look, you could see, okay, down here, this is our blue box territory, but ultimately, we are moving in an ascending wedge pattern, right? And I do expect to test the top of this, and I could see Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high, maybe by the end of this month, somewhere between $68,000 and $72,000. Now, even if you are looking at the ultimate bearish scenario, and you do think that this is a traditional rising wedge, and you do think that we do need to fall to the downside, then yes, there is that possibility of coming all the way back down. However, I don't see the correction happening now. I would still minimally need to see one more retest at the top right here, because we didn't even make it to the top on this last pump, right? So, we had 1, 2, and I would expect a third move before even considering whether or not Bitcoin, was going to be falling into some type of a bearish pattern, right? And just to zoom out, just to let you guys, so you can see what's going on right now, really what Bitcoin is doing is it's just having these retests of its previous highs, right? If you take these trend lines all the way back from when we had the high in June of 2019, you could see right here where Bitcoin first topped out at around the $27,000 level. We pumped up all the way to 42, we came down, we retested it. Then we broke out again. You can see right here, we broke out to about 57, we came down, and we retested the previous resistance, which now acts as support, right? So all we're doing is just having these sideways consolidations, retesting previous levels, and continuing. And you could see right here, even if I switch this to log view, right? You could see that this trend is your friend. I mean, if you look at this right here, I mean, look at this. We are trending. We are trending up. We are trending to the top, right? So we have not broken our trend. Now, if we were to fall below those whale accumulation levels, fall back down around the 46,000 and then break below that, like, you know, lower, probably, well, let me actually have a look at it real quick. I'll let you know exactly. Yeah, so if we were to break down below the $47,000 level, then I would be looking for an absolute bottom at around 43,000. If Bitcoin breaks below 43,000, then I might start becoming bearish. Just a little bit, we have to check. But, you know, also, it could just be a double giant double bottom. So giant double bottom. So basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is I'm not bearish, but let's talk about what's happening right now because, you know, there are some signs that look like there is some profit taking. There could be some things to be concerned about. We've actually seen Bitcoin balances on exchanges reversing the trend and increasing in the past 7 days. So while we've seen Bitcoin leaving exchanges, going into hardware wallets, going into cold storage, which means that these are long-term hodlers. In just the past week, we've actually seen these levels increasing, which kind of scares people a little bit. It makes you think, okay, why are they sending it to the exchanges? Isn't that where they would be looking to sell it, right? Now, keep in mind, a lot of these big guys do OTC sales, but a lot of this started with Ki Young Ju, who talked about an 18,000 Bitcoin deposit. Now, that's 18,000 Bitcoins, which means over $1 billion, right? Deposit is legit, and it was a transaction between user deposit wallets and Gemini Hot Wallet. All exchange inflow mean is skyrocketing due to the deposit. Don't over leverage if you're long. And it was right after that we actually saw, you know, the big fall. Now, there was a lot of controversy over this post. Willy Woo said, you know, and guys, I'm not taking either sides. I respect both of these analysts, but what I'm trying to say is that we have to look at the bigger picture here. So there was an inflow, right, of some sort. Now, you have Glassnode essentially saying that their statement is true, that it was internal. We've also seen things, you know, saying that it came from, what was it? It was it was an inflow from BlockFi's wallet. So that's what they're saying, right? So, you know, regardless, at the end of the day, you can look at the data, you can study the on-chain metrics, you can study who's transferring Bitcoin to where, but realistically, smart whales who are actually looking to, you know, take profits are not going to leave this big of a trail, right? The whales are getting smarter, especially if they're looking to manipulate these markets. So it could have potentially been something where, you know, a self-fulfilling prophecy where somebody mentions, you know, that there's coins moving, then people actually start to sell, right? Because they kind of get scared, and then that actually triggers more orders, and then we really do have a big sell, right? So that's a possibility as well. But Alex Kruger, he's an economist, and he says selling Bitcoin based on exchange inflows data is similar to selling Bitcoin on Bitfinex shorts going up. You don't know if inflows are for selling, just as you don't know if a large increase in Bitfinex shorts reflects bearish bets, hedging, carrying trades, or whale psyops, right? So a lot of these times they do become self-fulfilling prophecies, but at the end of the day, when we really have a look at what we're doing here on the charts, regardless of whether or not, you know, this happened because of the sell-off, we're still in this ascending pattern. We're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. We haven't broke our uptrend yet, so there's really no reason for panic, right? Now, I do want to talk about one thing, though, that we should be looking at, right? Which is the Puell Multiple, and I've talked about this on the channel a few times. Now, if you don't know what it is, essentially they say that it looks at supply side of Bitcoin's economy, Bitcoin miners, and their revenue. It explores market cycles from a mining revenue perspective. Bitcoin miners are sometimes referred to as compulsory sellers due to the need to cover fixed costs of mining hardware in markets where price is extremely volatile. So you can look at how this is, you know, calculated. Obviously, you know, this is the calculation right here. But essentially, let's just look at the data. Let's look at what the data says. Whenever we tend to get into this red zone right here, essentially, that is when, you know, we look for tops in the markets. Now, we can see that we are somewhat close, right? We're getting close to the red zone, but we haven't actually entered the red zone yet. And you can see that previously, there are no cycle tops or reversals without minimally at least breaching into the red zone. So while some people could be arguing that, yes, the markets could be getting overheated, it might be getting towards the end, we could be looking for taking profits eventually pretty soon, we're not actually in those levels yet. And until I actually see us break into the red zone for the Puell, break down below the 42K level, have a change in the trend of Bitcoin where we start actually putting in some lower lows on the macro schedule, then it's not possible for me to become a Bitcoin bear. And essentially, this is just profit taking. This is just what happens in markets, right? So just wanted to kind of give my 2 Satoshis on that. And once again, we have seen whales accumulating in the $55,000 range and massive demand at the $47,000 level. So I still expect this level to hold. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do dump down below 50K, that we have another bounce down around the $47,000 level, which is of course where I would once again be scaling back into the longs, right? And this is why you don't want to over leverage, you don't want to go in with high leverage, and you want to make sure that you are only using small percentages as you ladder in. I've gone over this time and time again. If you guys are interested, like I said, you can check out the tutorials below. Also, Femex, if you're interested, you can trade a lot of altcoins. Now, personally for me, altcoins are some of them a little bit too volatile to be trading on leverage. I really personally don't recommend that, but if you are interested, I do have a tutorial popping up above. You can check that out if you're interested. Obviously, that also has a $200 bonus available. Sorry, guys, just got to jot something down real quick. I told you I gotta get out of here quick, so we got to finish this video. But yeah, so we have so check this out. So we're trying to figure out who's actually buying right now. Is it the institutions or is it the retail? Well, JP Morgan actually said that it's relatively been equal recently. 187,000 Bitcoins last quarter from retail via Square and PayPal, 205,000 this quarter. Then they say that there's 170,000 for the institutions, and now we're looking at 307. So essentially, it's roughly the same for the institutions and the retail. Now, this actually gets me excited because this tells me that as much as we thought this was a retail-driven rally or institutional-driven rally, there's actually still a lot of institutions that are still, unfortunately, sitting on the sidelines, which lets me know that there is still a lot more room for growth. And like Max Kaiser says, a Bitcoin price is signaling that fiat money around the world is in a hyperinflationary collapse against Bitcoin. Please keep boosting inflation so my 2021 target of $220,000 comes sooner, right? And we're seeing this with all of the money printing, all of the stimulus, right? Watch yesterday's intro clip. And, Cameron Murray says there's a lot of concern about inflation at the moment. Current monetary and fiscal settings are intended to get inflation. More inflation is now apparently a good thing for them. Not really. In Australia, we haven't hit the inflation targets for over 5 years, right? But here's something. You guys want to know why? Why, if anything? Number one, quarter one is over. They're taking profits. But here's something that not many people are talking about. And this has nothing to do with any on-chain data. We have a 2-day meeting that's going on with the Federal Open Markets Committee panel, which does end tomorrow. So this could potentially be keeping some of the Bitcoin traders at bay, right? While rates remain low by historical standards, their dramatic rise recently has raised concerns over the Federal Reserve's dovish policies. So the article goes on to say that the U.S. Central Bank has been purchasing government bonds and mortgage-backed securities at the pace of $170 billion per month. Meanwhile, it maintains benchmark interest rates near zero, making it cheaper to borrow the U.S. dollar. Higher bond purchases have reduced the appeal of holding debts by lowering yields, while cheaper dollar loans have pressured the greenback lower. In fact, Cathie Wood was talking about Bitcoin potentially becoming the new go-to over bonds, right? And Bitcoin has benefited from the ongoing policies. Bitcoin surged over 1,500% from its mid-March, when it fell in the pandemic scare around $3,800, but they say that's why the upcoming Fed's policy setting meeting could be instrumental in determining its short bias. So we do have to see what comes out, what they do have to say at the end of this. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, what is the answer for everything? The answer for everything is print more money, money printer go burr. So really, all of these solutions just end up benefiting Bitcoin in the end. Ray Dalio, however, does think that they are seeing the fact that a lot of people are, for example, taking their stimulus checks, dumping them into Bitcoin. So what could the government do to discourage Bitcoin purchasing? Well, they could ban Bitcoin, but let's be honest, they've already come out and said they're not looking to do that. The US specifically has said they're not looking to ban Bitcoin. In fact, it would be in their best interest to kind of learn how to tax it, right? And that's exactly what they might do, according to Ray Dalio. In fact, he suggests that shocking tax hikes could be deployed to manipulate flows into various asset classes. If history and logic are to happen again, policymakers who are short of money will raise taxes and won't like these capital movements out of debt assets and into other storeholds of wealth, being Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies or even gold. So he's saying he could discourage, or they could try to discourage it by raising the taxes, but he doesn't see them actually banning Bitcoin. He does still say that cash is trash, so it pays to either borrow cash rather than hold it. But in response to this, we had MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor commenting that Bitcoin was the obvious solution to the bond problem, agreeing with Cathie Wood, claiming that it is a more practical asset for practical than diversifying a portfolio. So essentially, rather than trying to find baskets of all these different diversifications, just hold Bitcoin. It's proven, it works, right? So that is that situation. Also, guys, before we go, I just want to give you a quick altcoin update. So we do have Titles IDO over on PokeStarter. This is happening on March 23rd. As you guys know, I have been quite bullish on insurance in DeFi. I think it was sort of the missing piece of the puzzle that we need to pay more attention to. And down here, you could say that they were conceived with the vision of simplifying insurance for DeFi. Tidal aims to address security issues in the dynamic landscape. They say with a broader perspective of making DeFi safe and secure, Tidal strives to create a robust infrastructure through smart contract insurance solutions for decentralized applications. Leveraging the powers of the Polkadot ecosystem, it has integrated with several projects by resonating with its vision of driving DeFi to mainstream. And another project that you guys have been totally going bonkers over is Odds Finance. And, they are gearing up for their public distribution for their token. This is also over on PokeStarter, as well as ZeroSwap. They're going to employ their one-click wizard to create a smart contract token, and you can see that they have announced an integration with DeFi Wizard, okay? So DeFi Wizard, as you can see, is a multi-chain DeFi, they say Legos, to facilitate the seamless token distribution process for odds. And finally, I do want to end on the fact that Elon Musk has now jumped on the NFT bandwagon, and he is selling this NFT, which is currently it's a song about NFTs, and he's selling it as an NFT. And in the picture, it has an NFT, and kind of hear the song here. All right, so there you go. And apparently that's going for over like 1.2 million or something at this point. So that is it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. If you haven't checked out these videos popping up right here, right now, check them out. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.